Okay, let's go back to East Point, Georgia, where I was born, where I was raised, where I lived the whole time that before I went in the Navy, when I was a homebound boy. And some of the jobs that I did early on was lawn mowing. And no, we did not have gasoline or electric lawnmowers. We had the push type, the real type of lawnmowers. And they were a lot of fun. And I remember the janitor from the Church of Christ came down to the house one day, and he says to me, "I hear you mow lawns." I said, "Yes, I do." He says, "Well, I'd like to hire you to come to the Church of Christ and mow the lawns that we've got there on Friday after school. And if you don't get it all done on Friday, you can come back Saturday morning and finish it." And it wasn't a large amount of grass, but it was kept real neat, and it was edged real neatly. I didn't have to do the edging, he did that. But I pushed this lawnmower back and forth, and you had a device that caught the grass as it cut it, throw it back. It would catch the majority of it, and then you get that about full, and you take it off, you pour it into a larger container. And so I did that for 1 or 2 years in lawn mowing time. And then even before that, I had a neighbor who had grown some watermelons, and he wanted me to take them around and sell them to people in the neighborhood. So I got my little red wagon that said some kind of a flyer on it, and I put his watermelons in it, and I would take them around, and I would ask somebody if they wanted to buy watermelon. They said, who growed the watermelons? And I would say, Mr. Bryant did, my next door neighbor. And they said, "Oh, he grows good watermelons." So, and they'd point to one, "How much is that?" And I said, "Oh, that's a 10-center. How much is that?" "Well, there's one big one in here, and it's a 25-center. And one time I had the big 25-center, and it was heavy. And the guy said, "I'll buy it. Take it up there, lay it on my front porch." As I picked it up, I dropped it. There went a quarter. Boy, was I upset and sad. And he said, "That's all right." He says, "Give me one of the smaller ones, and I'll pay you a quarter for that." And I said, "No, I can't do that." But anyhow, I did that. So I remember Mr. or Mrs. Humphreys always bought one. And then the people on the corner, who I believe their name was Brown, they bought one, and other people. So every year at watermelon time, which would be any time after the 4th of July, there was an old belief in that part of Georgia that watermelons weren't fit to eat before the 4th of July. And I believed it. And I lived it. Because my mother wouldn't buy any and wouldn't serve any until after the 4th of July. So anyhow, I remember doing that, and I remember the people I met. There was one woman there, lived in the Brown's house, and she was, she must have been ancient. She's probably 60 years old. But this is like 1941, 1942 or 1943. And I was making, another job I had was delivering groceries to people who couldn't come to the store and get them. And what happened, the grocery store owner would go around in the morning and take orders from people. And then I'd come by there after school, or in the summertime I'd come by afternoon with my bicycle, and I would take their grocery orders to their house for them, deliver them for them. And this old woman she'd ordered something, and I went back there to deliver it. And I remember she had a squawking, noisy, something making noise, spoke a funny English. And I got into her apartment, and it was a parrot. Now, this was probably 1943, something like that. I'd be 12 years old. And that parrot, she told me the story of that parrot, or she did, or somebody did, that she had had a boyfriend who was in the Navy, and he had been to Cuba, and there he got this parrot for her. I don't know if he bought it, stole it, or what, but he got a parrot. And he brought that parrot and gave it to her. And that parrot went just a little bit beyond probably wants a cracker or something like that. And so that parrot had to be, close to 50 years old. But that was the interesting part about that. And so